Listen to me very carefully. If he's been going days without answering you, and you're still the one holding the phone like it owes you an explanation, I need you to sit down, because what I'm about to tell you is going to rearrange something inside of you tonight. You've been carrying a silence that's been eating at your peace, and you've convinced yourself it's your fault. It's not. But before I tell you exactly what to do, you need to understand what's really happening in his mind. Because once you see it, you'll never look at this situation the same way again. Now put the phone down. Put it down. I know you don't want to, because that phone has become an altar to you. You have been worshiping at the feet of a notification that isn't coming. And I'm not saying that to hurt you. I'm saying it because somebody has to love you enough to tell you the truth tonight. Let me describe your last 72 hours to you, and I want you to tell me if I'm lying. You woke up this morning, and before your feet hit the floor, you reached for that phone. Before you thanked God for waking you up, before you brushed your teeth, before you drank a glass of water, you reached. And your thumb knew exactly where to go. You didn't even have to look. You went straight to that name. And when you saw no new message, something in your chest sank a little bit. Just a little. Not enough to cry over, but enough to set the whole day on the wrong foot. Then you did what you always do. You opened the conversation just to look at his last message. You read it again. You tried to squeeze new meaning out of old words. You looked at the timestamp. You looked at the read receipt, the one under your message, the one that says he saw it and said nothing. And you built a whole story out of that little blue check. Maybe he's busy. Maybe his phone died. Maybe he's going through something. Maybe, sister, you have written a novel out of a man's silence, and that novel is killing you slowly. You went to work today with a smile on your face that didn't reach your eyes. You laughed at somebody's joke and didn't hear the punchline. You sat in a meeting and rehearsed, because I know you did. Don't lie to me. You rehearsed the message you would send him if he texted first. You had two versions, the cool one and the honest one. The cool one said, "Hey, stranger." The honest one said, "Why are you doing this to me?" And you knew deep down that you would send the cool one and mean the honest one, and he would feel the difference, and he would use the difference against you. You've stopped eating the way you used to eat. You pick at your food now. You've lost that little bit of weight that people compliment you on, and you smile when they say it, but you know that weight didn't come off from discipline. It came off from grief. Grief for a man who's still alive. Grief for a relationship that never got a funeral. You listen for that phone the way a mother listens for a baby crying in the next room. Every buzz, every ping, every little vibration on the countertop makes your heart lurch. And 9 times out of 10, it's not him. It's a bill. It's a coworker. It's your mama asking why you haven't called. And each time it's not him, a small part of you dies. And you don't even notice, because you've been dying by inches for weeks now. You've read old text messages until your eyes hurt. You've zoomed in on a photograph he sent you 6 months ago, looking for a sign. You've listened to a voice note he left you until the sound of his voice doesn't even feel like his anymore. It feels like a ghost. That's what he is right now, my dear. He's a ghost living rent-free in the mansion of your mind, and you've been feeding him 3 meals a day. I know you've been asking yourself, what did I do? What did I say? Was it that argument? Was it that night I called too many times? Was it that I loved him too loud? Was it that I wasn't pretty enough that week, or thin enough, or interesting enough, or quiet enough, or exciting enough. You have put yourself on trial in a courtroom where you are the defendant, the prosecutor, and the judge, and you keep finding yourself guilty. Stop it right now. Just for tonight. Stop it. Because I need you to hear me on this one. Your pain is real, but your diagnosis is wrong. You've been treating a wound that isn't where you think it is. You think the wound is that he's not answering. That's not the wound. The wound is that you handed a man the pen to write your worth, and he's been writing in disappearing ink. That is the wound, and we're going to close it tonight. But here's what happens next. And this is the part that changes women's lives. Because before you can walk out of this valley, you have to understand what is actually going on in that man's mind while you've been drowning. And what I'm about to tell you, no man ever wanted you to know. Let me tell you something. In all my years of watching men and women dance this same dance, I have learned one thing that is truer than almost anything else I can tell you. A man does not disappear because he stopped feeling. A man disappears because he stopped fearing. Say that with me in your spirit. He stopped fearing losing you. And the day a man stops fearing the loss of a woman is the day he starts testing how much of her he can waste. Now, I know that stings. I know it does. But I did not come here tonight to rub your back. I came here to save your life. So sit with the sting for a minute, because inside of it is your freedom. Here's what nobody's telling you. When a man goes silent on a woman who is chasing him, 90% of the time, he is not gone. He is watching. He is watching to see what you'll do. He is watching to see if you'll double text. He is watching to see if you'll post something sad. He is watching to see if a mutual friend will bring you up. He is watching to see if you'll fold. Because a man's silence is very rarely absence. It is almost always an audition. He is auditioning you for a role in his future, and the role he's writing for you is either the one who kept her dignity or the one I could always come back to. And most women, bless their hearts, audition for the wrong role. Every single time. Let me tell you a story. I knew a woman once. I'll call her a sister of mine because that's what she was to me. Beautiful woman, smart, good job, owned her own home. And she fell for a man who ran hot and cold the way a broken faucet runs. 3 good weeks, then 2 silent weeks. Then a hey, I've been thinking about you that had her running back like she had never been hurt. And every time he came back, she opened the door a little wider. She cooked. She showed up. She rearranged her calendar. And every time he left a little easier because she had trained him that leaving cost him nothing. One day she called me crying. She said, I don't understand. I've been everything he asked for. Why won't he stay? And I said to her, what I'm about to say to you. I said, baby, he won't stay because you've made staying optional. You have removed the price of losing you. And a man does not protect what he can lose for free. Understand? Now watch this. Men value what they invest in, not what they receive, what they invest in. There's a difference, and most women never learn it. A woman thinks that if she gives more, he will love more. That's a mother's math. That is not a man's math. A man's math says, the more I had to work to get her, the more she must be worth. The less I had to work, the less she must be worth. It is not fair. It is not sweet. It is not what your mama told you, but it is the truth. And the truth is what sets you free. When you are always available, you are teaching him that you require no investment. When you answer in 3 seconds, you are teaching him that your time is cheap. When you cancel your plans to see him, you are teaching him that your life is negotiable. When you accept the 3rd string treatment, You are teaching him that first string is not required. And then, and this is the part that breaks women, you get mad at him for treating you the way you trained him to treat you. He is not the professor. You are. And the class you've been teaching is a class in how to lose you cheaply. Let me tell you something else. Men fear one thing more than any other in this life. And I don't care how tall he is, how much money he makes, or how many women he's had. Men fear the loss of a woman who has become her own source. Write that down. A woman who has become her own source, her own peace, her own joy, her own validation, her own mirror. Because when a woman becomes her own source, a man realizes he is not the sun in her sky. He is a candle in a room she's already lit. And that terrifies him. Because now, for the first time, he has to earn a place in a life that is already whole without him. That is the woman he returns to. That is the woman he cannot forget. That is the woman he tells his boys about 10 years later when his marriage is falling apart. Not the woman who chased him. The woman who forgot him. I've seen this 1,000 times. 1,000. Same story, different faces. The woman who begged became the woman he blocked. The woman who waited became the woman he wasted. But the woman who walked, that's the woman he woke up thinking about at 2 a.m. That's the woman he drove past her old apartment looking for. That's the woman whose name he typed into a search bar 6 months later and stared at until his coffee got cold. And here's what nobody's telling you. Silence, when it comes from a woman who has decided she is done auditioning, is the loudest sound a man will ever hear in his life. It is a weapon he has no defense for, because a man knows how to argue. A man knows how to apologize. A man knows how to smooth things over. But a man does not know what to do with a woman who has simply gone quiet and gotten better. Now, let me diagnose you, sister, because you didn't come here just to hear about him. You came here to understand you. Your pattern is this. You mistake anxiety for love. When your stomach flips because he hasn't texted, you call that love. That's not love. That's a nervous system that has learned to associate a man's attention with your safety. Somewhere, maybe from your daddy, maybe from a man before this one, maybe from a mama who taught you a woman's job is to keep a man happy. You learned that when the man is pleased, you are safe, and when the man is displeased, you are in danger. And that little girl inside of you is still trying to keep herself safe by keeping him happy. But you are not a little girl anymore. And he is not your daddy, and your safety is not in his hands. It never was. Your second pattern is this. You confuse potential with reality. You have been in love with who he could be, not who he is. You have been dating the highlight reel of a man who, on his best day, showed you a glimpse of what he was capable of. And you have spent months, maybe years, trying to coax that version of him back out. Sister, if a man showed you gold once and copper for a year, he is a copper man who had one good day. Stop paying gold prices for copper behavior. Your third pattern, and this is the one that hurts, is that you have been outsourcing your worth. You wake up and check his mood before you check your own. You dress for his approval before you dress for your own mirror. You edit your text messages 6 times looking for the version that won't scare him away, meaning you have edited yourself out of your own life. And a woman who is not living in her own life cannot be found by the love that is looking for her, because that love comes to your address and you don't live there anymore. He does. Do you hear me? Now pay attention, because this is where it changes. Because up to now, I've told you what's wrong. But the reframe The reframe is where the woman you used to be dies, and the woman he will one day fear losing is born. And what I'm about to tell you in this next part is the part that changes women's lives. So don't move. And listen, if any of this is landing on you right now, if you feel like I've been reading your text messages, do me one favor. Tap that subscribe button. Because I make these videos for the sister who's ready to remember who she is. That's it. No pitch, no noise. Just a promise that when you come back here, I'll be waiting with the truth. Now, let's keep going. Sister, look at me. I need you to hear this in the deepest part of you. You were never the problem. Say it. You were never the problem. Your love was not too much. Your heart was not too soft. Your loyalty was not misplaced because loyalty was wrong. It was misplaced because the address was wrong. You delivered a queen's love to a man who was renting a room in a boy's mindset. And then you wondered why the package kept getting returned. You were not too much. You were too available for too little. There's a difference between softness and weakness, and most women never learn it. Softness is a choice. Weakness is a default. Softness says, I have chosen from a place of strength to be gentle with this person because they have earned it. Weakness says, I don't know how else to be because if I am not gentle, I am afraid he will leave. One is a queen extending her hand. The other is a girl clutching a sleeve, and a man can feel the difference from a mile away. Every single time. Your softness was mistaken for weakness because it had no boundaries protecting it. Understand? A garden without a fence is not a garden. It's a field. And everybody walks through a field. Anybody can trample a flower that has no fence. Your job from this night forward is not to become harder. Your job is to build the fence. Because the flower was never the problem. Thy flower was beautiful. Thy flower is still beautiful. It just needed protection. And the person who was supposed to protect it, you, was too busy giving tours to men who didn't take their shoes off at the door. Listen to me carefully. High value is not a look. High value is not a designer bag. High value is not a filter. High value is not a body. High value is a frequency. It is a way of being in the world that says, my time is not free, my energy is not for rent, my attention is not a public utility, and my presence in your life is a privilege you will not waste twice. That's high value, and you don't buy it, you become it. A high value woman does not chase, she does not audition, she does not explain herself to men who are not qualified to understand her. She does not text twice. She does not post sad songs on her story. She does not accept crumbs and call them cake. She does not answer at 2 a.m. She does not compete for a seat at a table where she should be the head. She does not shrink to fit a man's small idea of her. She expands, and the men who cannot rise to meet her expansion, they fall away. And she lets them fall because a woman who is walking into her purpose cannot carry passengers who won't buy a ticket. Say this out loud with me tonight. Say, I am not a rest stop. I am a destination. Say it again. I am not a rest stop. I am a destination. He didn't lose interest. He lost access to a woman who forgot her value. And that woman is dead now. Now listen to me carefully. I want you to understand something about energy, because this word gets thrown around a lot, but I'm going to make it concrete for you. Energy is not a vibe. Energy is not magic. Energy is the signal your nervous system is broadcasting into the room every second of every day, whether you know it or not. And a man, I don't care how dumb he pretends to be, a man reads that signal like a bloodhound reads a scent. When you walk into a room anxious, he smells it. When you walk into a room needing him, he smells it. When you send a text nervous, he feels it through the screen. And when you send a text from a place of peace, he feels that too. And peace is intoxicating to a man who has grown addicted to controlling anxious women. Your energy has been leaking. That's the truth. It's been leaking into that phone. Every time you refreshed the screen, energy leaked. Every time you rehearsed a text, energy leaked. Every time you cried in the shower and put on makeup to hide it, energy leaked. And a woman with leaking energy is a woman who cannot attract the return of anything. Not him, not a better him, not her own destiny. Because everything meant for you comes looking for a full cup. And you have been walking around with a cup so empty it echoes. We are going to plug the leaks tonight. The reframe is this. You are not waiting for him to come back. You are waiting for you to come back. And the day you come back, I mean the real you, the one you were before you started shrinking to fit, the day she walks back into your body and lights it up from the inside, he will feel it. I don't care if he's 3 states away. I don't care if he's dating somebody else. I don't care if he blocked you. He will feel it. Because the woman he was addicted to, the anxious, available, apologizing woman, has just gone extinct. And he is going to look up one day and realize that the drug he was using to feel like a man has stopped being manufactured. And that is when the story turns. But watch this. Watch this. I am not telling you to become cold. I am not telling you to become bitter. I am not telling you to play games. Cold women don't win. They just make everybody else cold too. Bitter women don't win. They poison the well they were supposed to drink from. Game-playing women don't win. They attract game-playing men. What I am telling you is to become sovereign. Sovereign. Meaning you are the queen of the country of you. And a queen doesn't chase. A queen doesn't audition. A queen doesn't explain. A queen doesn't beg. A queen governs. And any man who wants to visit her country has to observe her laws.
Period.
There is a difference between being unavailable and being unbothered. And most women never learn it. Unavailable is a performance. Unbothered is a state. Unavailable says, look how not available I am, please notice. Unbothered says nothing at all because it doesn't have to. Unbothered is the woman who saw his text, felt nothing, put the phone down, and went back to her book. Unbothered is not acting. Unbothered is arriving. And you are on your way there tonight, whether you know it or not. But here's what happens next, because reframing your mind is the beginning. But I did not come here just to change how you think. I came here to change what you do, because thinking without doing is just prettier suffering. And in this next section, I'm going to give you the exact rules, these exact laws that turn a woman from the one being ignored into the one being feared, respected, and remembered. There are 7 of them. And by the time I finish the 7th, you will not be the same. So don't move. Rule number 1, and write this one down, because if you get nothing else from tonight, get this. You go silent, and you stay silent until he initiates from a place of humility. I mean total silence. I don't mean I'll wait a day. I don't mean I'll answer with one word. I mean the phone goes quiet from your side. Completely. No text, no call, no like on his post. No view on his story. No indirect message on your own page hoping he'll see it. No hey stranger. 3 weeks in when your resolve breaks at 11:47 on a Tuesday night. None of it. Silence. Total, sacred, disciplined silence. Let me paint you the scene. It's a Wednesday. You've been quiet for 11 days. He hasn't reached out. Your friend calls you and says, have you heard from him? And you say, no, and I'm not going to. She's shocked. You're a little shocked yourself. That night, you're washing dishes and the phone lights up on the counter. You dry your hands slowly. You walk over. You look. It's him. 3 words. Hey, you good? That's it. 3 words. No apology. No accountability. Just a temperature check. He is not reaching out because he's ready to be a man. He is reaching out because the silence has become louder than his pride. And he needs to know he still has access. He is knocking on the door to see if the lock has been changed. Sister, the lock has been changed. Here's the psychology. A man's need for control over a woman's emotions is a hidden addiction he doesn't even know he has. When you were texting him 3 times a day, he was getting a drip of that drug every few hours. Even when he ignored you, he was still using, because the very fact that you were reaching meant he still had a hit available. Your silence is not the absence of communication. Your silence is withdrawal. Cold turkey, sweat through the sheets, withdrawal. And withdrawal makes a man do things he swore he'd never do. It makes him call. It makes him drive by. It makes him send a paragraph. It makes him ask a mutual friend how you're doing. It makes him double tap a photo from 2 years ago at 1 a.m. because the drug has been cut off and his body is looking for it. Here's what you do when he sends that 3-word text. Nothing. For at least 24 hours. Nothing. Let it sit. Let him sit. Let him wonder. Let him refresh his own phone the way you used to refresh yours. Let him taste it. And when you do answer, if you answer, you do not match his energy. You do not send a paragraph. You do not explain where you've been. You do not ask how he's been. You send one short sentence, calm and warm and complete, that closes no loop. I've been well, thank you. Period. That's it. No question mark inviting him to continue. No emotional temperature. No door held open. If you skip this rule, I'm telling you right now, you will reset the entire clock. Every day of pain you have already endured will be erased, and you will be back at day 1, wondering why he's pulling away again. Because he never had to rebuild anything. You handed him back the key before he even asked for it. So the warning is this: your silence is only as powerful as your ability to hold it. Hold it. Rule number 2, and this is where most women fail. You remove yourself as his emotional storage unit. Understand what I mean. For months, maybe years, you have been the place he unloads. His bad day at work, his argument with his mama, his frustration with his boys, his confusion about his life. You have been his therapist, his cheerleader, his mirror, and his mama, and you called it love. It wasn't love. It was labor. And he was paying you in scraps. Here's the story. There was a woman I knew who told me, but he opens up to me. He tells me things he doesn't tell anybody else. That must mean something. And I said, baby, opening up to you and choosing you are 2 different things. A man will open his mouth to any woman who will listen without asking anything of him. That is not intimacy. That is convenience. Intimacy is when he opens up and then shows up. If he's only doing one of those 2 things, he's using you, not loving you. So from this night, when he does come back, because he will come back, and he starts trying to unload, you do not receive it. You do not become the emotional dumpster again. You are polite. You are brief. You are warm but distant. If he starts venting about his job, you say, that sounds like a lot. I hope you figure it out. And you leave it there. You do not ask follow-up questions. You do not offer solutions. You do not stay on the phone for 2 hours listening to a man who wouldn't send you a text for 2 weeks. Here's why it works on him. A man who has used a woman as his emotional storage unit does not miss her body first. He does not miss her cooking first. He misses her ear. He misses the way she used to make him feel understood. And when that ear closes for business politely, without drama, he panics. Because now he has to feel his own feelings, alone, in the dark, with no soft place to land. And that, sister, is where the real reckoning starts. In him, not in you. The warning, if you slide back into being his ear, you have rehired yourself into the exact position you just quit. And a man does not respect a woman who begs for her old job back after being laid off. Rule number 3, you become unreachable in the exact ways you were most available. Think about the patterns. What time did you always answer? Late at night? Then late at night you are asleep. Even if you're awake. Especially if you're awake. What was the app he could always find you on? Then you go quiet on that app. Post less. Show less. Don't disappear. That looks like a performance. Just reduce. What was the friend group he could always ping to hear about you? You stop feeding that friend group information. You do not say a word about him to the mutual friend. Not one word. Because everything you say to her, he will hear by Friday, and you will have handed him the map to your heart for free. Let me paint you a scene. It's a Friday night. He's out with his boys. 2 beers in, one of them says, "Yeah, man, I saw her at that thing last week. She looked good, real good. Didn't say much though. Real quiet these days." That sentence right there is a bomb going off in his chest. Because in 3 weeks, the story about you has gone from "she's blowing up my phone" to "she looked good and she was quiet." He has lost the narrative. And a man who has lost the narrative about a woman is a man who is 1 drink away from typing your name into his phone. The psychology is simple. Mystery is oxygen to a man's imagination. When he knows exactly where you are, exactly what you're doing, exactly how you feel about him, his imagination has nothing to eat, and his interest starves. But when you become slightly unreadable, not cold, not cruel, just quietly unavailable in the ways you used to be an open book, his imagination starts working overtime. And a man's imagination, once it starts working on a woman, is a fire you did not have to light. The warning: do not do this to make him miss you. Do this to give yourself back to yourself. Because if you do it as a tactic, he will smell the tactic through the screen. But if you do it as a return to your own sovereignty, he will smell that too. And it will haunt him. Rule number 4. You reinvest every ounce of that leaked energy back into you, visibly, spiritually, and physically. I want you to make a list tonight of the things you stopped doing for yourself when he entered your life. The gym you stopped going to. The book you stopped reading. The friends you stopped calling. The prayer life that got shallow. The hobby that used to make you lose track of time. The plate of food you used to cook just for you on a Sunday afternoon. Write them down. All of them. And start tomorrow one by one, you pick them back up. Here's the scenario. It's a Tuesday morning. 6 a.m. 6 months ago, you were still in bed at 8, scrolling, checking to see if he responded to that message you sent the night before. Today, 6 a.m., you are on a walk, sun coming up, headphones in, but not sad songs, something with a beat, something a woman walking into her season listens to. You come home, you make yourself a real breakfast. You sit down at the table like you matter, because you do. You open a book, you read for 20 minutes, you pray, not for him, for you, for your discernment, for your peace, for the woman you are becoming. Somewhere in that same city, at that same 6 a.m., he is waking up in a bed that feels a little emptier than it used to. And he doesn't know why yet, but he will. The psychology of this is what I call the invisible weight. A man can always feel when a woman has stopped orbiting him, even when he has no evidence. He'll get a strange feeling on a Tuesday afternoon. He'll pick up the phone twice and put it down. He'll drive past a restaurant you used to go to and feel something he can't name. That feeling is you taking your weight out of his gravity. And every ounce you reclaim, he feels as a subtle absence. It doesn't feel like relief to him. It feels like something is missing. He thinks it's the season. He thinks it's the weather. He thinks he needs a vacation. He doesn't know it's you, but it's you. The warning: if you reinvest in yourself for him, none of this works. Every glow-up done for a man is a costume that fades by month 3. You reinvest in yourself for you, for the woman you owe an apology to, for the little girl inside of you who deserved more. And the side effect, the beautiful, terrible, satisfying side effect, is that he cannot look away. Rule number 5, when he returns, and he will return, you receive without receiving. This one is subtle. Pay attention. When he finally comes back with more than 3 words, when he sends the paragraph, when he calls, when he shows up, you are gracious, you are calm, and you are not moved. You do not celebrate. You do not weep with relief. You do not fall into his arms in the first breath. You listen. You let him talk. You let him say every word he prepared. And when he is done, you do not respond immediately. You take your time. Here's the scene. It's a Thursday. You've been quiet for 6 weeks. He calls, not texts. Calls, you look at the phone. You take a breath. You answer on the 4th ring, not because you're playing, but because you were doing something and you had to finish it. And that is now the standard. Your voice is warm, but low. You do not squeal. You do not gasp. You do not say, "Oh my God, I've been thinking about you." You say, "Hello." That is all. He starts talking. He apologizes. He explains. He tells you he's been going through some things. He tells you he missed you. He tells you he wants to see you. And here is what you say. Ready? You say, "I hear you. I appreciate you saying that. I need some time to think about what I want from here." And then you get off the phone, not angry, not hurt, not cold, just complete, like a woman who has options, because you do. The psychology is this. A man who has been through the withdrawal we just described is not looking for a woman to punish him. He can find that easy. He is looking for a woman who is unshakable, a woman whose center of gravity did not move because of his absence and will not move because of his return. When you receive him with calm instead of desperation, you tell him without a single accusation that the woman he left is gone, and the woman on the phone now is somebody he has to earn all over again from the beginning. And that is the woman he will crawl through glass for. The warning: if you fold in the first 10 minutes, you will pay for it for the next 10 months. Every crumb you accept in that phone call, he will feed you again in a week. Do not celebrate the return. Evaluate it. The return is the beginning of the audition, his audition, not yours. Rule number 6, you protect the peace at all costs, even from him, especially from him. Understand what peace is. Peace is not the absence of him. Peace is the presence of you. Peace is a nervous system that no longer flinches at a name. Peace is a Sunday afternoon that does not need his phone call to feel complete. Peace is a bed you sleep in without checking the phone one last time. Peace is a heart that is no longer being auctioned off to the highest emotional bidder. And peace, once you have it, is more precious than any man alive. So here is the rule. Anything that threatens your peace gets removed. If a conversation with him leaves you shaky, that conversation ends. If a text from him unravels your day, that text does not get answered until you are grounded again. If a photograph, a song, a location, a mutual friend, a memory undoes you, you take a season away from it. You are not running, you are protecting. There is a difference between running from something and shielding something, and most women never learn it. Let me tell you a scene. It's a Saturday, 2 months in. Things have been quiet in your spirit for weeks. You've been walking in the mornings. You've been sleeping through the nights. You've been laughing again in that deep way you had forgotten you could laugh. And then a mutual friend calls you, and halfway through the conversation, she says, "Oh, did you hear he was at so-and-so's party last night with such and such girl?" And you feel your stomach drop. And in the old you, that would have been 3 days of misery. But the new you says, "You know what? I love you, but I don't want to talk about him. Let's talk about something else." And you say it with a smile. No drama, no lecture, just a boundary. That is protection. That is the fence around the flower. And every time you place that fence, the flower blooms brighter. He will smell the bloom from wherever he is. Trust me, the psychology is this. Every man who has ever loved and lost a woman he took for granted has one central regret. And it is not the fights, and it is not the sex, and it is not the missed anniversaries. It is her peace. The way she used to feel next to him. That's what he chases in his memory. And when he realizes that peace has been rebuilt without him, and that entering back into her life would require him to be worthy of that peace, he faces the mirror he's been running from. And most men will